Welcome to the Empower Her Wellness Podcast. I'm Morgan, and I'm thrilled to be your host and wellness coach as we navigate the path to a healthier, more confident you. As the owner of Get Fit With Me, I bring years of experience in personal training, nutrition, and coaching to each episode. Join me as we explore practical tips and strategies for fitness, nutrition, mindset, and more, all tailored for busy women just like you. Let's empower your wellness journey and achieve lasting transformation together. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of the Empower Her Wellness Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Morgan Ekovich, and today we're going to be diving into why we need to stop focusing on weight loss and we need to start focusing on things that are actually going to stick. And I thought today's episode was absolutely perfect for the time of the year because with it being middle of March, some of you are getting ready to go on spring break here in the next couple of weeks, or maybe in the next couple of days, and you are in ultimate crash mode of I'm not eating, I'm doing a lot of cardio, trying to drop those last few pounds before spring break because you think it's going to make you feel more confident and better in your suit or in the warm weather, whatever that is. Or maybe you're like, I'm not going on spring break, but summer's coming up and we've put on a few pounds for the winter. Oh, okay, I need to start doing something. So we're going to talk about how we can start doing things that stick and start taking some of that focus off of weight loss, because I'm going to be honest with you, any weight that you lose in the next couple of weeks very rapidly is not going to stay off. You may lose it and you may keep it off for a little bit, but it is not going to stay off long term. And that is the thing, is anything we do crash-wise, even in the next 2.5 months, if you lose a lot of weight in a very drastic way of eating very little, not doing a lot of cardio, not strength training, you are not doing things in a way that is going to be sustainable long term, that weight will come back. So I want us to, during this episode, I want you to take weight loss off the table, because when we start doing things that actually stick, that we can do consistently, and we're going to go through what those things are, that weight loss will happen. I promise it will happen. It's going to happen at a much slower rate, but that's the point, is when we slowly decline in weight, we get to a weight that we actually are happy with. And during that weight loss, that slow weight loss, we build confidence in ourselves, we build strength, and we realize that maybe that number in our head where we wanted to be for weight loss is not actually where we should be body-wise. It's not actually what makes our body feel good. Maybe you've been striving for 130 and you get to 145 and you're like, wow, I just feel really great at this weight. Awesome. You've just gotten to a weight that you feel good and confident at. The scale does not define you. Your jean size does not define you. Your measurements do not define you. But we get so caught up in that weight loss that we let it define us. And we keep going for a lower and lower number. And I have a fluctuation of 5 pounds up and down. I don't track my weight very frequently, but I know that if I'm feeling a little larger or bloated, or what's another good word, fluffier than I have in the past, I don't have to step on a scale to know that. I can tell by my clothes. But that doesn't mean I'm going to jump into all these drastic things to lose that weight rapidly. No, I'm going to dial in and figure out, what am I not doing? What did I let kind of fall off on my habits? I fell off on trying to hit my steps. I've become a very sedentary individual. Or, I've stopped eating as many vegetables. Okay, I need to implement more vegetables. So we have to audit ourselves, which we're going to talk all that through. But during today's episode, I want you to get weight loss out of your mind. Because the other thing that happens is when we are solely focused on weight loss, what happens is we create stress in our body. And when our body is stressed, it actually doesn't like to lose the weight. So it's important that we are managing our stress and we are doing things that are going to be sustainable long term. And that right there is going to make us feel better, which in turn, you are going to gain strength, you're going to gain confidence, and that weight will slowly start to come off. I have clients I've been working with forever, and It's not a rapid weight loss by any means, but we are slowly moving that scale down. But the things that they've seen, no matter what that number looks like, they've seen in themselves, they've seen changes in their own bodies. That's what really matters. So as we dive in, I want you to remember those things because I know warmer season is ahead of us. What you've gained the last 6 months, you're not going to lose in the next 2 months. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. And if it does, like I said, it's going to come back. And I don't want you to be on that roller coaster of I'm up 10 pounds, I'm down 20, I'm up 10, I'm down. Like, I don't want that. I want you to be able to find a spot where you're not always chasing that weight loss, that you're actually enjoying life along the way and not stressed. So things that we should be focusing on. And these are things that you've heard me talk about on other episodes. So some of this may be, Morgan, I hear you talk about this. And some of this may be, why haven't you mentioned this before? And that's because really this list is pretty long. And we cannot do all the things all at once. Because if we did, we would get overwhelmed and we wouldn't do any of them because we'd be going really good for a couple weeks and then it'd just be like a New Year's resolution and we would fall off. And I don't want that. So I've purposely only talked about a few things, and you've maybe heard me trickle in some of these other in different episodes, but today is a bigger of a list. And I want you to first start by noticing and acknowledging which things on this list are you actually doing consistently. We got to find our baseline. What are we actually doing consistently? And when you figure out what you did, whether it's one thing or all of them, give yourself a pat on the back because you're doing something on the list. And I can guarantee everybody is at least doing just one of these. So let's first start. First thing that we need to be focusing on is hitting our daily water goal. And in reality, we should be hitting about 90 ounces of water a day. A lot of you are not drinking enough water, or you get to 60 ounces. And yes, for females, it is 60 to 90 ounces is what's recommended. Personally, for me, I need 120 ounces to feel good. And a lot of that comes from me just making sure that I start drinking water earlier in the day. So if you can start getting consistent with drinking 60 to 90, striving for that 90 ounces consistently and doing it, you are going to notice things in your body. The other thing is we need to be moving our body every day. Intentionally moving your body every day. That can look like dancing, walking, strength training, stretching, kicking a ball around with the kids. It can look a variety of ways, but we need to be intentionally moving your body every single day. Ideally 30 minutes, but 5 minutes works. 10 minutes works. 15 minutes works. Does not matter, but intentionally put time aside to move your body. Number 3, you have to be getting or trying to get 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. We are very sedentary individuals. So 5,000 steps and below on a daily basis is a sedentary individual. And if you are above that, you are not technically sedentary. I would say 5 to 7, you're a little bit more, you're not quite sedentary, but you're not quite active. 8 above on a consistent basis is where I'd say you're a little bit more of an active individual because it takes intentionality to move that many steps. Unless you are in a profession like you are a waitress or you are, one of my clients is a teacher and she's a cheer coach, and that right there, she gets a lot of steps because her job allows for it. But if you're somebody who sits at a desk, which I do quite a bit of that these days, it is hard. You have to be really intentional, and it's really easy to fall into a sedentary lifestyle. Although you have that 1 hour workout or that 30-minute workout, that 30 minutes, what do you do the other 23 and a half hours of the day? Yes, there's sleep in there, but we have to become more active individuals. We need to be moving our bodies more. After that, we have to be making sure that we are getting strength training in. And I know protein and strength training are two things that are all over people talking about, writing articles about, social media, all of those things. But there's no joke. You need to be strength training. If we can't get it 3 days a week, can we get it 2? If we can't do it 2, can we do it 1? If we can't do it 1, can we do it a little bit a movement every day? There is different ways and progressions we can increase and add strength training to our life. It doesn't have to look like going to the gym. It doesn't have to look like going down to the basement and doing weights. It can look a little bit different based on your lifestyle, but we need to be doing strength and resistance training. We need to be getting at least 2 servings of vegetables and a serving of fruit per day. A lot of us are not getting enough fiber. Fiber comes from fruits and vegetables. We need to be doing that. Fiber has a lot of benefits. Also, fruits and vegetables have a lot of nutrients that our bodies need, and a lot of times we're not getting it. We are focusing so much on protein because that is a push, and you're going to hear me talk about protein, but we also need fruits and vegetables. It's important. We need healthy fats. We need to be having a very balanced diet that also has flexibility, that's not rigid, but is flexible, which we talked about in 2 episodes ago. High quality proteins at every meal, taking time to unwind and de-stress. Life is chaotic, life is busy, life is stressful. And a lot of times we push. We end up like this, and we're stressed and we're overwhelmed, and we end up feeling a lot of pressure and anxiety and panic. And a lot of that can be combated by taking a second to breathe, to implement skills of when you do start to see that, you start to sense that feeling. How can we breathe differently to help regulate our nervous system? How can we remove ourselves from a situation? Or how can we react to a situation differently so that we don't have these feelings, or that we are in control of these feelings? Because you are in control. Last 2 things, quality and quantity of sleep. We had an episode probably 3 episodes ago now with Kelly Meyerson, and we talked about sleep. We're going to have more sleep episodes coming up. It is something that I'm noticing a lot of us are lacking when we're not getting quality and quantity of sleep. And because since I've had my Oura Ring, I have noticed so much data on that is why my sleep was terrible last night. Okay, I need to do better about getting to bed earlier on this night because I'm really starting to hone in on what my body actually needs. I've always had a sense, but real data behind that is helping. And then the last thing we need to remember is we want to limit our caffeine, limit our added sugars, and limit our alcohol consumption. I'm saying limit and not eliminate. And there's a reason for that. Is anytime the word elimination or can't have is part of our vocabulary, we end up wanting it more. We end up binging it in secret. We end up, when our 30-day no sugar is done, we end up going and having all of it. So with that, it's important that we find a balance in our life of, if you're somebody who drinks coffee until 3 p.m. every day, can we drink it till noon? Can we then drink it till 10 a.m.? Can we just have 1 cup of coffee a day? If you're somebody who has a lot of added sugar, how can we replace that? How can we do some swaps of, oh yeah, I'm eating 60 grams of added sugar. That's a lot of sugar. Can we bring it down to 50? Can we bring it down to 40? What types of swaps can we do? Because there's going to be added sugar in things, but added sugar is not great for our body. It causes a lot of inflammation. And then that alcohol. Different seasons, different times of the year, we have different amounts and quantities that we drink. I get it. If you're somebody who wants to completely eliminate it from their life, great. If you are somebody who's like me, who finds the balance, I'm somebody who I try only like once a week type of thing. That to me is I use it as like a treat. But I also know myself and my personality enough that once a week does not mean I'm going out and binging. Whereas if you're somebody who saves it for a certain time and then you know you're going to binge, then that may not be right for you. That may mean a little bit throughout the week so that you still get that feeling that you want. You're getting what you want from it, but you're not binging. So there's a bunch of different ways, and we can go into a lot of deep talks about all of these. But the thing that I want you to start remembering is you need to create balance in your life. You need to create balance in your life around these things. So out of this list, what things are you doing? What things are you actually doing consistently? Are you drinking water? Are you having protein? Are you eating veggies? Are you getting 8 to 10,000 steps? Are you getting quality and quantity of sleep? What are you doing? Remember, pat yourself in the back. Good job, you're doing those. Keep doing those. Because those things, when done consistently, are going to keep leading to that weight loss. I promise. At some point it will, if it hasn't happened yet. But then, what on that list are you not doing, and do we need to start implementing? If you're doing your steps, if you're doing your protein, if you're doing your water, I would take a look at, okay, are we getting strength training in? No. Are we getting vegetables in? No. Or how is our sleep and our stress? And some of these are going to be easier than others. I do recommend choosing not the easiest, but not the hardest. Choose something in the middle that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but not something that's going to feel like it's impossible. So for some of you, managing your stress may feel impossible. Don't choose that one. But eating more vegetables may feel really easy. Hold off on that. Choose something in the middle. Maybe it's going to bed earlier. Maybe that's kind of in the middle. Choose that one. Focus on that. Because what's going to happen is those easier ones, as we start implementing these, those easier ones are kind of just going to float in without us noticing. And then when we reevaluate and we review, we're going to say, oh, hey, I can check more of those things off. I'm doing more of those things consistently. So once you've evaluated what on that list you are currently doing, what that thing is that is not super challenging, not really easy that you're going to implement, start doing those. Start doing it consistently. If you need support or you have questions, my email's in the show notes. Call Your Shot in the Facebook group. It's in the show notes. Whatever it is, book a call with me. Let's talk it through. Let's start creating habits that are going to stick instead of just this hamster wheel of doing these things short term. But I did start this episode by saying we've got summer in 2.5 months and spring break is anywhere from a week to a couple weeks away. And a lot of us have losing weight fast on our mind. So I'm going to tell you 3 things that if you are not doing any of these, or maybe you're only doing one of these, I'm going to tell you the 3 things that if I wanted to lose weight or I wanted to focus on weight and feeling my best before going on one of these trips, things that I would do. Things that I'm not going to do are cut out food, because if I cut out my alcohol completely and then I go on vacation and I drink, I'm going to bloat and all that's going to be right back. I'm not going to cut out carbs because I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to eat carbs and I'm going to go right back up. And then I'm going to feel gross on vacation. And I don't want that. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. So I'm not going to do anything drastic. That's the first thing. What I am going to do though is I'm going to focus on getting 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. I'm going to be very adamant that I am going to get 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. All of our phones have a pedometer. Put it on you. See what your average step is. Get yourself, I believe I just saw on Amazon, they have like a $20 knockoff Fitbit type of thing. I'm sure it works great. The reviews were good. Test it out. Get a little pedometer. A lot of places give those out free depending on the place you go to. Like a lot of physical therapy clinics, that's like a freebie they give at events and walks and things. Like get a pedometer, figure out how much you're walking, move more. Move more. The second thing that I would do is making sure that I'm eating 20 to 30 grams of high quality protein at every single meal. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I am eating high quality proteins. That I'm getting enough of that because I need to fill my body up, give myself. But here's the thing is I'm not just eating protein. I'm still eating my healthy fats and I'm still eating carbohydrates, but I'm getting enough protein. I have a whole protein episode. You can go back and check. I forget what episode number it is, but we did a whole episode on protein. So if you want to understand protein, go back and listen to that episode. And then the third thing that I would focus on is getting those 90 ounces of water a day. 90 ounces. Move more, drink 90 ounces, 20 to 30 grams of protein at every meal. From now until your vacation, do those things and then continue to do those while you're on vacation. Do not cut out anything because what will happen is you will go back to them on vacation or you will all of a sudden hit the point of like, oh, it's time to go or it's summertime and you all of a sudden you're incorporating those things again and your body's just going to go back to where it was. And all we're doing is we're putting a Band-Aid on and now the Band-Aid's fallen off. Like that's all we're doing with those quick fixes. So we're just using a bandage. We don't want a bandage. We want to heal it. We want to heal our body. We want to make our body feel good. So I talk about those 3 things. Steps, like I said, we are very sedentary individuals. Some of you are stay-at-home moms, and I've seen your daily steps that you are not a sedentary individual. But I also know that your nutrition isn't there because you're so busy running around that you don't eat enough food or you don't eat enough protein or you just don't sit down and actually like slow down and figure out how much you are eating. So nutrition may be where you're at. You may not be a sedentary individual, but you may not be eating. And eating is important to give us energy. And then once you've gotten back from vacation, continue to do these things. Or once summer hits, continue to do these things and go back to that big list that I shared above. Let me read it off again. Hitting your daily water goal, moving your body every single day, trying to get 8 to 10,000 steps, making sure you're getting strength training, eating at least 2 servings of vegetables and a serving of fruit, having high quality proteins at every meal, taking time to unwind and de-stress, getting quality and quantity of sleep, limiting your caffeine, sugar, and alcohol. Once you've mastered those 3 that I just shared at the end, that if I were looking to really do what was best for my body in a short amount of time, then go into those others. But like I said in the beginning, you maybe are doing more on this list than you think you are. We need to track it. So when we work together, we use an app called My Coach, and it's an accountability. I put your actions in. So I would put all those in, or whichever ones we're agreeing to commit to. And we would start to see what works and what doesn't work. There's a free app out there called Habit Share that you can set up and do the same exact thing with. You got to manage it on your own, and you got to hold yourself accountable. You can post in the group what you are looking to accomplish, and I will hold you accountable there. But remember, we don't want to eliminate something completely, because at some point we are probably going to want to reintroduce it to our life. And when we reintroduce it, our body is going to kind of revert back to that feeling that we had before. Whereas if we can find a balance in doing the good things and limiting some of those sugars, those caffeines, and those alcohols, we're going to have a good balance for us in our lifestyle. And I promise you, when you start doing this, when you start taking care of yourself and stop looking at the short-term weight loss, start looking at the long-term big picture, that weight loss will come. It will come with time, I promise. You will get to a point where you're not going to want to look at the scale, not because you're afraid, but you're confident in how your body feels. And you're like, I feel strong. I feel like my clothes fit great. That I don't give a crap what that scale says. I rarely use the scale because to me, it is very triggering and red flagged. It's kind of like MyFitnessPal when the numbers turn red when I've ate too much by noon. Like numbers like that, we give too much power to. And if we really just dial in on focusing on how we feel, are we doing the right things? Do I feel confident? Do I feel strong? That right there, the way we hold ourselves and the way we show up matters so much more than that pant size, than those measurements, than that scale. If you are somebody who struggles with the scale because you've been so focused on the weight loss, get rid of it. Get rid of it. I'm not saying throw it out because I know you spent money on it. Have your husband hide it. Have somebody else in your household hide it and put it where you don't know where it's at. Because it can be tempting. When it's always in the bathroom, it is so tempting to stand on. And personally, we tend to get on it when we don't feel very good. We don't tend to get on it when we're like feeling amazing. We tend to get on it when we don't feel good. And all that does is push us down. And remember, life isn't just about losing weight and making ourselves smaller. It's about making ourselves more confident, making ourselves more of who we are, making ourselves stronger, being who you are. And it doesn't matter. None of that other stuff matters. As long as you feel like you and you can show up how you want to show up and you're happy, who cares about the rest? So start implementing things that are actually going to stick long term. And I promise the other stuff will happen. It will. I've been working with clients for a really long time. It will happen. Because what happens, you've heard me say this before, our brain plays tricks on us. It says you're doing all the right things. When we start tracking and we really start to dive deep and we start to notice and be honest with ourselves, we're really not doing all the right things. We're doing the right things some of the time, every once in a while. So it's important that we are honest with ourselves. And it's not being honest with ourselves where we shame ourselves and make ourselves feel bad. We're honest with ourselves because for us to get better, we have to be. A lot of times we don't like when people criticize or tell us like, hey, you need to work on this. We need to be doing it to ourselves because no one else really is going to tell you like, hey, you're not doing this right. Like you need to figure out for yourself. Take some time today, journal. Go back, listen to this episode. Figure out, what are you doing? What aren't you doing? What are your focuses? Stop doing the crash diets. Stop doing the fads. Start doing things that stick. Become more active. Make it fun. Steps also don't have to just look like walking. They can look like dancing. They can look like walking with friends. They can look like playing tennis or pickleball. Life is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be this thing that we are constantly trying to fit into a small box. Life is supposed to be fun and enjoyable. And if we can implement these things that I mentioned today, it's going to make life more fun and more enjoyable, because you're going to have the energy and you're going to want to be out there moving your body instead of, oh, I can't move it because I'm not there yet. No, start now. You are amazing and you can do amazing things. So remember to check out the show notes for a link to our Facebook group, for a way to reach out to me. My email's there. Send me an email, whether it's a topic you want to talk about, expert you want me to pull on here, or you just have questions about your life and you want to jump on a call. Reach out to me. Let's talk. In the meantime, if you were curious about any of the episodes I mentioned about, all you got to do is scroll back, because we're here like on episode 27. Go back and listen to some of our earlier episodes. I really have started to build this framework of where we need to start before we start diving deeper. So there are things that progress and there are things that we're going to keep talking about, because that's just who I am. That's how I teach. That is how I share information. Is we really cannot excel until we master the basics, and we are so bored with doing the basics and we are doing them in our sleep. Once we do that, then we're ready to excel and take that next step. So until next time, have a fantastic day, and I will see you all next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Empower Her Wellness podcast. I hope you found today's episode inspiring and packed with actionable tips. Remember, your journey to becoming the strongest, most confident version of yourself is just beginning. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and join our community of empowered women. Until next time, stay strong and stay confident.